Nicola Sturgeon has laid out a list of demands she says would have to be met for the SNP to support a minority Labour government, with the Scottish First Minister insisting she would want to see Trident nuclear weapons scrapped and more powers handed to Holyrood, as well as the granting of a second independence vote. Halting Brexit and bringing about a real end to austerity were also among the progressive policies Ms Sturgeon would push for if there is a hung parliament after the December 12 general election. She insisted these would resonate strongly with many people across the UK, as well as her supporters in Scotland. The SNP leader made the comments as Labour's shadow Chancellor John McDonnell said it could be 2 or 3 years before a Jeremy Corbyn administration would give the go-ahead for Scotland to have a second vote on leaving the United Kingdom. Black flag, SNP demands. White tick mark, Scotland's right to escape Brexit and choose future. White tick mark, end austerity. White tick mark, devolve migration, employment and drug powers. White tick mark, climate change action. White tick mark, end two-child cap, rape clause and universal credit inequity. White tick mark, no more nuclear weapons on Clyde #Ridge #GE19 #vote SNP. Tom French, at Tom French 85, November 24, 2019. Ms Sturgeon, who has already said she wants a fresh ballot on independence to take place in the second half of 2020, said that stance was not acceptable. Speaking on the Sophie Ridge on Sunday programme on Sky News, she said, "My position, and the one I would expect Labour to respect if they wanted SNP support, is the question of if there is an independence referendum, and the time of that is down to the Scottish Parliament to decide, not Westminster." The SNP leader questioned if Labour, against what all the opinion polls might be suggesting, were able to form a minority government after December 12. Are they really going to turn their back on the chance to stop austerity, to stop welfare cuts, to get rid of universal credit, because they want to block the right of people to decide their own future and argue over a couple of years? She insisted an election which ended up with a hung parliament where the SNP held the balance of power would give Scotland maximum influence. She added, "That would be a pretty good outcome, I think, in terms of making sure Scotland's voice is heard." She repeated her assertion that the SNP would never, ever put Boris Johnson into Downing Street and that she would not enter into a formal coalition with Mr Corbyn, saying instead there would be a less formal arrangement. Ms Sturgeon also said the SNP would have other key demands, including halting Brexit, a real end to austerity, the devolution of powers over migration, workers' rights, and drugs laws, and an end to the misery of universal credit and welfare cuts. Her comments came after Mr McDonnell told, "For more on this story, visit the news article link."